You may have needed to go through this like frantic period of growth and trying to better yourself in order to realize that it wasn't necessary. Um, you already are where you need to be, and it's just a matter of framing it correctly, right? With these wands here, it's like looking at it through the correct lens. Hi Pisces, Bailey B hanging out for another intuitive reading to help you explore your subconscious and see what's going on. Thank you for being here. I intend for this reading to give you something fascinating to think about, and I hope you can use that information to lead you to more safety and more fulfillment. I want you to check in with your own intuition to see what feels true and only pick up what's resonating with you. Today I have the Zen Osho Tarot deck, and I'm going to pick out 3 main energies, and then we're going to clarify what's happening with that with the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot deck. Cool, so let's get started. If you haven't liked the video, please do so. Help me grow the channel. And think about becoming a subscriber. I'm here every other day with an awesome reading for Pisces. I love reading for y'all's energy. There's always so much passion and a lot of changes. We go through a lot. All right, what is energy for Pisces after the full moon eclipse? Let's see. We have the Creator, Innocence, love that, and, ooh, the Burden, yikes. All right. All right, and then we'll get some clarifiers. Ooh, Breakthrough on the back of the deck. Very nice. Alright, so first up we have the Creator. And Osho says there are 2 types of creators in the world. One type works with objects. A poet, a painter works with objects, creating things. Jumping out of my hand there. The other type of creator, the mystic, creates himself. He doesn't work with objects. He works with the subject. He works on himself, his own being. And he is the real creator, the real poet, because he makes himself into a masterpiece. You are carrying a masterpiece hidden within you, but you're standing in the way. Just move aside, and then the masterpiece will be revealed. Everyone is a masterpiece because existence never gives birth to anything less than that. Everyone carries the masterpiece hidden for many lives, not knowing who they are and just trying on the surface to become someone. Drop the idea of becoming someone because you are already a masterpiece. You cannot be improved. You have only to come to it, to know it, to realize it. Experience itself has created you. You cannot be improved. Wow, that is insanely powerful to think about. So, do you think maybe Pisces, you've been a little hard on yourself lately? I'm getting the sense that you're kind of in the cycle of like perpetual bettering, perpetual growth. And this kind of like go mindset sometimes has destructive qualities because you never rest to let the lesson really sink in or to practice that lesson that you've learned and actually put it into place. So I pick it up and there's the Knight of Swords on the back of the deck. Talk about doing too much. So here, let's see what message can be clarified here with the Creator energy for Pisces. Ooh, the 5 of Pentacles. I wonder if this constant need for personal growth either creates this poverty mindset or it comes from poverty mindset. It's interesting to think about. If you're used to having to prove your worth and your value to others in order to survive, that could be a big thing. The burden here is the third card we pulled out, and I'm getting that this is like similar energy. This is the Six of Swords down here, the burden, but Five of Pentacles, this is a feeling of burden, being financially trapped, physically unable to do anything to help yourself, but then knowing that this isn't a place that you want to stay. Let's figure out how we get to this breakthrough on the back of the deck. What else do we need to know about this creator energy? The Tower card. Okay, let's clarify that. What is this Tower card? Page of Pentacles and the Hangman. Interesting. So you are the creator. This is definitely talking about you, Pisces. The Hanged Man is your energy. And if we're really talking about change from this poverty mindset, the Tower card's a good thing to see. We're talking new opportunities to shake up the way that we view money, the material world. This Page of Pentacles is offering up a new pentacle, a new opportunity possibly to plant a seed of future abundance, wealth. Somebody may be offering you some help or a job offer, something like that. I'm almost getting that it's like an offer to teach you how to stay away from the trap of this poverty mindset. Look at this. It's like a blind spot, honestly, that I feel like some of us have, Pisces, about creating and allowing ourselves to have material wealth, material stability, or material abundance. It's almost like we feel like we don't deserve, no, that's not right. Not that we don't deserve it, but it's hard to distinguish us from other people, right? It's almost like, why us and not them? That's kind of something that at least I know plagues me sometimes when I think about being successful financially. But clearly this is something that needs to be broken up, otherwise you wouldn't be being thrown out of this tower and needing to hang upside down to get yourself on a different page. So let's move further towards this second energy here, innocence. I'm curious, is this the key to releasing this energy, this of being like stuck in your financial situation? All right, so innocence here has a really interesting message for us. Zen says that if you drop knowledge, and within knowledge, everything is included, your name, your identity, everything, because this has been given to you by others. If you drop all that has been given to you by others, you will have a totally different quality to your being, innocence. This will be a crucifixion of the persona, the personality, and there will be a resurrection of your innocence. You will become a child again, reborn. So this feels almost like a little bit scary, right? Like the idea of losing who you thought you always were. It can be comfortable there, even if it's not exactly joyous. And also, like, who likes to be a child? Being a child can be really scary, especially in the world that we live in. So this is a real practice to honestly stay authentic to yourself and not be caught up in the idea that you have to create a persona, to project something out to the world that you might actually not really even want or feel the need to, or I don't know what I'm trying to say. Sometimes we do things because we think that's just the way things are done, or because we have this picture of what our life should look like. So we go through the steps to create that picture of what we think our life should look like, blah, blah, blah. And it's basically us trying to uphold this personality, this persona that we've developed over X amount of years we've been alive. I think what this is saying is most of the time those things are given to us from the outside. And when we revert to a childlike innocence, we can retain the authenticity of ourselves. We can show up with more of a truth and a vulnerability that allows us to learn lessons, rather than being stuck in thinking of ourselves in a certain way and then not really growing or learning much at all because we've already defined ourselves. So I see a lot of joy on this card too. I feel like when we are brave enough to let the facade melt away, especially when it comes to work and what defines us as a job or our money, those types of things are really scary to let not define us in our current culture. But when we decide to do that, there's just a lot more joy. There's a lot of joy on this card, if you can see. And I think we could all use a little joy. So let's get some clarification for that. Okay, I just want to read this one last bit by the illustrator because I feel like it's really poignant. The innocence that comes from a deep experience of life is childlike, but not childish. The innocence of children is beautiful but ignorant. It will be replaced by mistrust and doubt as the child grows and learns that the world can be a dangerous and threatening place. But the innocence of a life lived fully has a quality of wisdom and acceptance of the ever-changing wonder of life. So it's not that we're being asked to be ignorant, right? Like, the losing of knowledge isn't childish. That's not the point. It is the point to be flexible, and there is a wisdom in the acceptance of the way things are that frees you to be an acceptor of life's waves, that eventually turns into a sense of playfulness, a sense of joy, wonder, and acceptance is sort of the precursor to wonder and awe, right? So if that makes sense, let's get some clarifiers here. What is it we need to know about this innocence card for Pisces? Alright, so we have the Four of Wands, wow. The Two of Swords, the Seven of Wands. One more card for this innocence energy for Pisces. Ooh, too many. Wheel of Fortune. Let's get one more card. Okay, I guess really wants to give me two. The Two of Wands and the Nine of Swords. A lot of wondering, a lot of fighting for what you believe in, a lot of feeling in the middle. I feel like there's going to be a lot more contemplation here of what it is that you've been fighting for or about. Maybe questioning, like, am I picking my battles wisely, or how am I choosing to expend the energy that I am expending right now? Is it on mental anguish? Is it on the unknown, constantly questioning things that you don't see? I see you contemplating here what you want, and you're just not really sure how to go about getting it, and that's what's keeping you up at night. It's difficult to put those dreams into plans while also keeping this innocence and this flexibility about you and letting things unfold, having the faith that things are going to unfold in their own time. That's a very difficult lesson to learn here, and I see you struggling with it. All right, let's talk about the burden, the Six of Swords here. Okay, bear with me here while I read this entire thing because I feel like it's so pertinent and it basically sums up everything we've been talking about so far. We carry a load of shoulds and shouldn'ts imposed on us by others. We become like this ragged, struggling figure trying to make his way uphill. Go faster, try harder, reach the top, shouts the foolish tyrant he carries on his shoulder, while the tyrant himself is crowned with an imperious rooster. If life these days feels just like a struggle from the cradle to the grave, it could be time to shrug your shoulders and see what it feels like to walk without these characters on your back. You have your own mountains to conquer, your own dreams to fulfill, but you will never have the energy to pursue them until you release yourself from the expectations you've gathered from others, but now think they are your own. So sometimes we even convince ourselves that these are our priorities as well. Chances are they only exist in your own mind, but that doesn't mean they can't weigh you down. It's time to lighten up and send them on their way. So again, this is harking back to the creator talking about innocence here too, how shrugging off the expectations of others or the expectations that we have of ourselves is the way to become more innocent and to shake the burden of others' expectations. I know a lot of us are feeling this like work from cradle to grave energy, and it's a lot of it is stuff that we put on ourselves. Like we are perpetuating the lie there, and I think it kind of starts with us personally and internally saying, no, we're not going to work ourselves to the bone trying to convince other people that we are acceptable. This is not something that will protect us anymore. It may have made us feel more safe when we were young because we had to fit in order to survive. I know there's a lot of those similar feelings as adults that we have to fit in order to survive, but it's a lot less true now, and I think there's more holding ourselves back than there really is pressure externally for us to fall in line. So just a thought there. Let's get some clarifiers. Actually, I'm going to keep reading because this is just more of exactly what we were talking about. A man's true life is the way in which he puts off the lie imposed by others on him. Stripped naked, natural, he is what he is. This is a matter of being and not of becoming. So, as the creator was telling us, we already are wonderful. It doesn't have to be a constant growing learning curve to better ourselves for us to be seen, or for us to see ourselves as perfect, amazing, whole beings just as we are. And even saying that out loud feels kind of strange, but it is the truth, and it's really hard to accept especially in our culture of like constant growth mentality, growth mindset. And in a way it is good to examine ourselves, but in a way that is, again, maybe stripping back more of these expectations and these learned behaviors than putting more on. Easier said than done, but once that shift happens in your mind, it can be really helpful in terms of acceptance, accepting yourself, and seeing a lot more joy in your days. The lie cannot become the truth. The personality cannot become your soul. There is no way to make the non-essential essential. The non-essential remains non-essential, and the essential remains essential. They are not convertible. And striving toward truth is nothing but creating more confusion. The truth has not to be achieved. It cannot be achieved. It already is the case. Only the lie has to be dropped. All aims and ends and ideals and goals and ideologies, religions and systems of improvement and betterment are lies. Beware of them. Recognize the fact that as you are a lie. Manipulated, cultivated by others, striving after truth is distraction and a postponement. It is the lie's way to hide. See the lie, look deep into the lie of your personality, because to see the lie is to cease the lie. No longer to lie is to seek no more for any truth. There is no need. The moment the lie disappears, truth is there in all its beauty and radiance. In the seeing of the lie, it disappears, and what's left is the truth. That's really interesting because I was listening to a reading just now, High Priestess Healing Tarot, which is a great channel if you guys are looking for more readers. They have a lot more followers than I do, so they probably don't need my shout out, but they were just talking about how it's not that we have to change and not mess up when we break a pattern or when we recognize a way in which we need to grow or something that like has been hindering us in the past. It's just the labeling of it. We just have to know it's there, and then, you know, I mean, she talked about we make a choice after that because we can identify it. This is saying there actually is no choice that you have to make once you remove the lie. It just is what it is. The being is there. And I think we're probably, we're probably saying the same thing, getting at the same seed, which is dropping the pretense. Truth ends up just being there. It's not something that you have to build or discover or change and grow and make better. It just is what it is. And to accept it is to recognize that it is glorious regardless of what our minds are telling us we need to improve upon. Alright, so let's just get out a couple more clarifiers here for the burden. I feel like we've talked a lot already about this core energy. Four of Pentacles, so clinging, the King of Swords, boundaries, the Eight of Wands, information coming in quickly. Let's get a couple more clarifiers here. What is this burden that Pisces needs to clear? It's the Queen of Wands on the back of the deck there. Temperance and the Ten of Pentacles. I love that for our last two cards. This is interesting. So we're going from the Four of Pentacles to the Ten of Pentacles, and it's because we're crossing through this transformation energy. The King of Swords is somebody who is aware of the fact that even hard established entities, things that have been entrenched in society for decades, generations, can change. They can morph. That's why the symbol of the Swords family is the butterfly here, which you can see on his throne. There's two birds here in the background, one flying above the other. This is kind of talking about hierarchy, which the King of Swords can represent. So even though this figure is formidable and looks intimidating, like this is something that will never change, within the card it is telling us that this too is capable of morphing and transforming. So let's not look at established entities as if they're incapable of metamorphosis, because that is not true. Especially things like, our personality, or things that have been told to us about ourselves, that we can actually look internally to see if that is true or not, and then make decisions to let go of the things that we don't feel are true about us. The Queen of Wands here, I think, talks about just embracing our creativity, our weird selves, our spiritual selves, the part that people don't understand or don't can't quite put their finger on. Something to be very proud of and to learn how to shine in your uniqueness. Easier said than done, again, right? Because we try to protect ourselves from ridicule or the perceptions of others. We don't want to always stand out because that leaves room for critique. And they can be very scary. I'm feeling a lot of like hesitant energy, a lot of energy of like, I'm not sure if I can be myself right now. But I think what this is saying is, as we're realizing all of these things, learning all of these lessons, you might be literally have like 8 different lines of growth that you've been working on. Not that like you've written them all down, but you know, this could be like your friendships, your romantic relationships, work, family, your creativity, you know, your spirituality, your connection to nature, and your daily habits. Like whatever it is that you're trying to improve upon right now, Pisces. It's like you got a lot of shit happening here. You got a lot of stuff going on. But don't overdo it, because there's not a prize at the end of the tunnel for overdoing it, right? There's nobody that's going to give you a medal for doing all these things. You have to do them in your own pacing, your own timing, and be true to yourself. It's kind of the only point in working on yourself, right? If you're not doing it for yourself, then it's really just literally carrying a monkey or rooster on your back for no reason. All right, so maybe a little harsh, but Temperance is here to talk about balance and alchemizing these things, these like lessons that we're trying to learn and grow and become, right? There's a way that we can take that energy into a different direction, and then sit in this peace of long-term stability, long-term family relationships, community, even material wealth and stability. This stuff only comes from the alchemizing of this situation. You can't achieve this and keep it without having taken the time to change all this like frantic flying energy here into something that is transforming us into a more peaceful, innocent, right, being who is accepting of who we are and not constantly needing to better ourselves. So it's like I'm feeling kind of like a weird caught up energy right now. I want to get out just a little encouragement, maybe. I know we're being called to be our authentic selves and to accept ourselves the way that we are, right? To not feel like we have to overcorrect, over try, over perform. So I want to get some positive encouragement out here for you. Just as we close the reading, star on the back of the deck. Maybe a wish is coming true here for you. We'll see how it goes. Top card is the star card. Let's cut the deck. I think I maybe did that on accident. 4 of Wands. Okay, yeah. 4 of Wands here. So the repetition is, this ends in you learning this lesson. I feel like there's a graduation. You may have needed to go through this like frantic period of growth and trying to better yourself in order to realize that it wasn't necessary. You already are where you need to be, and it's just a matter of framing it correctly, right? With these wands here, it's like looking at it through the correct lens. Are you, and there's even like a framing quality here to these 4 wands. I'd say this is almost like a practice to frame your world in a way that it's like everything is perfect as it is. If you can look at things through that lens and not say something is like good or bad, it just is, and it's helpful or it's not helpful, right? But it all has a purpose. If you can frame things that way, Pisces, you can alchemize this frantic energy, this worry energy, this fighting energy, this constant energy of being like in between and not knowing where to go. You can counter that by framing your world as a place that is like a fun playground that you're getting to experience, and no matter what happens, you're amazing, you're awesome, and everything has already worked out. So again, I know that's easier said than done, but this is the message, and I really hope that helps you move forward with a little bit more passion, encouragement, and conviction for yourself, Pisces. You are awesome just the way you are, and there's no need to continue to have to refine what is already awesome. So if you need to take a rest, take a rest. You know, you are who you are. Do what you are going to do, and try and strip away those learned behaviors, the expectations of others, the labels that have been put onto us or that we put onto ourselves. The Tao says something like, when we use names and labels, just remember that they're provisional, right? They're not literal, truthful definitions. They're a means to an end, which is the same as, you know, our personality or how we describe ourselves to others. This isn't literally the full picture. It's just a means to an end and a way to communicate. But don't ever think that it is the truth. It is a provisional means to, like I said, communicate with others. The truth of who you really are is what is already there. It's just about stripping away the lies, Pisces. So, really deep reading today. I hope this resonated with some of you guys. Please press the like button if you can. Subscribe to the channel if you want more readings like this. We get kind of deep every other day here with Pisces. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and I hope you live long and prosper.